Hey guys, J77 here, doing another What's News, and this one is going to be staying focused on just New York, and the reason is followed. We had our primaries, and although um, pretty much unofficially the numbers have come in, they're still tallying it. I believe they're 98% finish, but it looks like for those who have been following the New York primaries, it looks like de Blasio will be the Democratic nominee to run for mayor in the city. It has been, I will tell you, a very interesting race, especially with these what's going on the last few months. I have the numbers here. It is indeed, in fact, 98% has been reported, as well as other stuff that's happened within the New York Democratic primary, the Spencer situation, which I have the numbers for that. But I will tell you this: this has been pretty much a very interesting race for mayor. It has been a very pretty much friendly debates for the Democratic nominees. It hasn't been as dirty as I was actually expecting it to be. Whether people think it's a good thing or bad thing, I don't know. But one thing is definitely certain from the numbers I'm seeing. Even though Thompson is still waiting for the numbers, it doesn't look like he is going to pull out a victory. Amazingly, they didn't put a checkmate on DeBasio because if you look at the numbers, DeBasio has 40.2% of the votes. Thompson has 26% of the votes. Quinn, which came in third, has 15.5% of the votes. Lou has 7% of the votes. And Wiener, who pretty much dug his own grave, has 4.9% of the votes. So that's pretty much what we got right now. Now keep in mind, 98% of the precincts have reported. If you look at that, that means, and you look at the tally, Blasio has 2,000, um, 257,168 votes counted for his favor. Thompson, however, has 166,632 counted in his favor, and that's pretty much the two big leaders, the two big dogs when it comes to the voting tally. Quinn comes in third, of course. She has 99,259, while Lou has 44,852. Surprisingly, Wiener didn't do too terribly either with double digits. He only has 31,402, but I thought it would be a lot less than that. So keep in mind there are some people who actually did vote for him, but in the end, the two top candidates right now is the ones which has a strong vote tally. Now let's go to Spencer and his situation, as you all know, and I'm actually not surprised nor disappointed because I felt that him running and how he was running was an absolute joke, in my opinion. Um, Stinger had beaten Spencer uh, in an easy margin, 52% of the vote versus 47.8%. It was a close race, but in the end, Spencer lost, and I'm not exactly upset by that whatsoever. I'm actually kind of happy he lost. Like I said, it was the one time I think the Post have got it right. Again, he has disappointed me in many ways, and I think that the fact that he has used Wiener's situation to try and boost up his voting record shows us how much of a coward he really is. But that's a different conversation for another time. But the important thing is that right now, for what it looks like, and so far we're still seeing the numbers staying just the way it is. 40% of the votes that De Blasio has, and unless a dramatic change happens within the next few hours, which I don't see happening anytime soon, De Blasio will be the Democratic nominee to take on Republican Joe Lotto, I believe his name is, in this race. And you know what? Congratulations towards them. Again, I did not expect him to win. I actually thought either Thompson or Quinn, particularly Quinn, to actually be the mayor nominee. Obviously, many people didn't see too much on Quinn. Quinn actually fell down within the last few weeks. I don't know what happened. From I think the debates were pretty much the deciding factor for being run. Uh, her debates was okay from what I've seen. I don't know what it was, but a lot of people did not feel comfortable with Quinn, and she actually slid down a peg, not enough to actually be out of the race, but enough to say, yeah, she's not being looked on as a strong candidate at the time. Thompson, I will say this, excuse the noise from outside. Thompson, to me, has always stayed right there. He never really fallen out. He got endorsed by very powerful people. He was even backed by the fire department at one point. So he was never really out of it. My only beef was the same beef I had last time when he ran for mayor. Is that he didn't seem aggressive enough to actually say, "Oh, this is the kind of guy to get the job done." Blasio, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was shocked. I didn't think he was actually gonna actually pull off the race. I thought people will be more comfortable with Thompson or Quinn, but obviously the Blasio, um, to the eyes of the voters, seemed that he seemed to have uh, seemed to have gotten more of a liking towards them. They seem to have gotten he was more in tune with them, and that's one reason why he has a double-digit lead heading towards the last tallies of the votes. Again, I'm a little amazed how he has not been checked in because if you look at there's no comparison, 40% of the vote versus 26% of the vote. But like I said, there's still a whole lot of votes being counted, and I think they're going to count to the last minute in order to find out who is going to officially, before they make that official word, if he is the nominee. But it is something of an interesting situation. Like I said, when I was watching um, this this race and watching the party, I got a better feel for them. I actually could not pay attention to it because they basically was campaigning all over the city, especially in Rockefeller Center where I work at. Um, they were really out there in force. A lot of candidates were out there in force. A lot of people was shouting, getting their support, getting their votes. So it was kind of hard not to follow them. But once I started following them, I actually really started paying attention to what was actually being going down. I actually liked some of the debates that was going on. I actually had a problem with some of the debates that didn't seem to interest any of the candidates. One of the debates that I actually had a problem with was the MTA debate. There was a big debate on the MTA. Many people, including myself, thought it was disappointing because, let's be honest, none of the candidates seemed interested in changing the MTA. They brought up some interesting ideas. Some was rehash ideas from the old mayor office, but in all, a little bit something there. In all, I just thought that I felt that really there was really no sense of passion from anyone to actually change the overwhelming concern of the MTA's budget situation, the budget crisis. And in many ways, I'm not exactly angry with that because I gotten kind of sick and tired of these guys saying they condemn the MTA once they get elected in the office. They don't really do anything to change the matters. In fact, the matters get even worse when they get there because they haven't stepped in and say, no, you can't do that. So if they're not going to really do anything, it's best for them not to try and be against or even support the MTA for that matter. Just say what you feel, what you got ideas, and that's it. And that's all they want is basically ideas that pretty much a good 90% of the time will not be put into motion. So that was pretty the only debate I had a problem with. Other than that, it has been pretty much interesting debates between all the candidates, and it also has been pretty much a friendly friendly campaign, more friendly than I actually would thought, because I actually believe that the Democrats was going to come out swinging. You're going to see a lot of mudslinging, and even though there was criticism heading from all candidates, it wasn't as severe as I thought it would, or it should have been when coming to this race. And I guess that's because, one, they're trying to save all the energy towards their opponent, which pretty much, in my opinion, it was always just one opponent from the Republican side. But it's definitely something that I was very, very surprised at how very friendly and formal this race has become. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I didn't see behind the scenes or anything, but I was a little bit surprised how this race have ended up. One thing I will also say about this is that, and this is something I think every New Yorker will probably even question. I even talked to it about a friend of mine about this. Is this has been pretty much the coverage of this race for mayor in the city has been very one-sided. I mean, I have barely heard anything from the Republican Party in terms of their candidates. I heard of one guy, and that was it. Just one guy. And that one guy, I'm going to show you right here, it's right here. He is not Joe Blasio, I'm sorry. John Lauder. He's the only one that I heard about. And it's almost felt like from the very beginning that they was only going to put one guy up against a Democrat, because when you hear the news, even the most conservative news, they didn't say much about the Republican Party, which is kind of interesting and surprising, because every time I saw the news, it was always about the Democratic nominees. That was it. I was like, well, where are the Republicans at, or who are they gonna go? Because I was very interested of hearing what they was running on, what agenda they want to push, and what concerns they have, and what they was going to do to resolve these issues that New York has. Because New York has a lot of stuff that's going to be put in the forefront. There's no question about it. No matter who they are, there's going to be some issues and some decision making that will be pretty much tough decisions and not going to make anyone smile once those decisions are implemented. But those are the things that I wanted to hear from the Republican side, and I barely heard anything. I think there was one time the Republicans have actually debated on something. It was actually on New York One. And a friend of mine, when I brought this up, he told me that this is a dominantly Democratic city, and the Democrats have a stranglehold on the city. And at first I just said it's not possible there. So we do have a strong Republican presence in Queens and in Staten Island. But lately I'm kind of wondering, especially how the press has been covering it, is that it is in fact a dominated Democratic town, and that's why they was focusing more on the Democratic parties. So it's something that I'm definitely is keeping an eye on, because I find it very, very strange how throughout the entire 6 months I've been watching the race for mayor, that I haven't heard much about the Republican candidates or even know what the hell they're running under. So maybe that will change in the next 2 months, because I tell you one thing, if this is true, and this is a Democratic kind of city that is pretty much dominantly Democrats here, then the Republicans need to really need to step up and say, this is what we're running on. This is why you should vote for me more than the Democrats does. There's a lot of people who's not comfortable with the Democratic nominees. A lot of people who felt that they're not going to do the city justice. They may actually pull the city back. I don't think that's the case, but there are people who are very uncomfortable. But then again, we have to ask them, did anybody from New York know what the Republicans are planning to do? And that's the thing I think that the Republicans are going to have to really show. Other than that, it was a very interesting, very crazy day yesterday. Yesterday was a very weird day. So the booths was supposed to be open from the hours of 6 to 9. Some of the booths was not even open yet. They're not ready yet. You also have a situation where people can't get out their booths. You also have a lot of complaints about the booths. I'm going to tell you right now, in the year 2013, there should be no excuse for that. There should be no excuse that these booths are malfunctioning in any way, shape, or form. I know Bloomberg had tried to implement the electronic device to make things go faster, more legitimate. The problem with the device is that you have certain companies who are in ties with certain parties, and you really can't rely on them to be fair, especially when they have the power to switch votes. And this is the thing that I think that Congress need to, from both sides, need to address, especially what's happening yesterday. We went back to the levees, and already there was problems, and that's something uh, there is no first, but there's no excuse to not having your booth ready on time. And two, to have these problems in the most crucial time of the election, especially when it comes to November, is something that no state or the voters should deem acceptable. So that's something I'm hoping that New York fix very quick when it comes to November. Again, there's no excuse for that kind of stuff to happen. But that's pretty much been the biggest concern that happened yesterday. Other than that, pretty much quiet. It was very much quiet. They I went to work, got out of work, kept my eyes on the what was going on with the votes. Nothing really was reported until the booth was closed and they started tallying up the votes. So pretty much everything is as the way it's supposed to be. And unless I pretty much would say about few hours from now, another few hours from now, I think the official word that Blasio will be, in fact, a Democratic nominee if he has not been already. I just refreshed the page that I was on, seeing if anything had changed. I've been actually refreshing and to see if what's been going on. They actually have a separate column that they actually refresh itself, but I'm just doing it right now for myself to see what's going on. But right now, there has not been any changes from what I'm seeing. One thing is definitely certain that the controller primaries is definitely been a done deal. And again, not saying many people said he was actually good at his job in terms of controller, but to me, Spencer have shown too much of his arrogant side for me to actually trust him with that position, especially since he wants to brush off his personal problems on Wiener. And keep in mind, Wiener is pretty much, in my opinion, is done. He had his last gas. Maybe in the future he can actually come back and become a more respected representative. But after seeing the stuff that was happening within the last few days with him getting an argument with someone in a store, to these repeat situations with the texting that got him into trouble in the first place, it was very clear that he has issues that he needs to take care of. And him being the mayor is not one of those things that people can actually trust with him right now, for the simple fact he's reckless. So that's pretty much all I got to say on the West News, special West News. I will keep keeping an eye on this race as we go on. There is definitely going to be some big debates from here on out. I will also be keeping an eye on the first true Democratic-Republican race for mayor debate, which you pretty much will be followed somewhere in mid-October, no later than the first week of November. There should be at least two, no more than three. So we're gonna see what that happens. I will say this though, the nice, keep things in check debates. I'm gonna tell you right now, is not going to happen in this one. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get nasty, and you're going to hear a lot of muscling from both candidates, as well as you should expect. Like I said, these primaries, it was pretty friendly. Playtime's over. Now you have the seat for one of the most prominent seats in New York City, the mayor. And believe me, whoever wins this, no matter who they are, is going to have a lot on their plate. This is not going to be. This is not. Their job is not going to be easy, especially after what legacy Bloomberg and, yes, I'll say what Giuliani have left behind. So they got a lot to fill, and they got a lot to prove once they take office. But that's a topic for another day. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll leave it to you guys to comment on. Let me know what you guys feel about what has happened, especially those in New York. But until then, Jason is Evans saying take care, be safe. Talk to you soon.